Hi, welcome to the show. This is Whitney, your host, and I'm recording this on Friday, the day before we fly to Colombia. So this is our final day in our beautiful jungle home. I'm just looking out at this beautiful jungle front yard that we have, and we've been here for 3 months, which has been really cool to see the changing of the seasons because below the equator here in Brazil, in Florianopolis, where we are, it's pretty southern part of Brazil too. So you do get the changing of the seasons. So when we got here, I guess it was in October, November. Yeah, like October or September, I guess it was yeah, mid-September. We were thinking it was going to be moving into spring and summer. It ended up being pretty cold and rainy for quite a few months, to be honest with you. But I got to see there was this one tree in our front yard that had all these berries, and the toucans and different birds and the marmosets, the monkeys were coming so close to the house to eat these berries in this tree. And so even though the weather wasn't great and it was probably a weird time of year to come to Florianopolis, I never would have gotten the toucan views and videos and photos that I got if we hadn't come. So it was just a really cool experience. And so reflecting back, right now it's sunny and warm and it's moving into their summer just in time for us to go. So I'm a little sad about that, but I am really grateful for the experience that we did have when we got here a little bit earlier out of season. And Colombia, we're going to Medellin. I should not be sad about that. It is the city of perpetual spring. So it's going to be 80s every day, high 60s at night. We've been there multiple times, so I'm very familiar with the weather. So I'm excited for that. So next week, actually this week, so I'm recording this on Friday, but this is airing the following week. So you are listening to this, and this is the week of my coaching call. So I am hosting a coaching call all about planning for the year ahead and also just addressing any questions you have, anything that's on your mind about websites or marketing or where you want to be taking your business. Maybe you are considering different marketing strategies for your business in the year ahead. You've been hearing me talk a lot about email marketing and you want to get into that. Or I talked about the three-pronged marketing approach that every practitioner should have in their business. So of course, having your website, but then having email, search, and promotion all driving traffic back to your website. If you want to talk more about any of those and you have questions about it, come to the coaching call. It is happening live on Wednesday. So depending on when you're listening to this, make sure you come. And it is Wednesday. Let's see. I got to look at my calendar here and make sure I'm saying the right time. So it's at 12 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday the 10th, and you can just register for free. It's on Zoom. When you submit your registration, you can put in a specific question in there if you have one for me. Otherwise, just feel free to come listen, and you can always submit your questions live as we're chatting. We're going to record it. We'll put the recording out on the podcast as well. And so if you can't come live, feel free to register and submit a question. I would love to have it. We did do one of these calls a few months ago, and it was really great. It was just great to talk through all sorts of different questions that were on your mind. So I am excited. We've already had some people signing up, some of our past clients, as well as some new folks. So I'm really excited for another great call. So make sure you come to that. You go to whitneybateson.com/coach. We also have that in the show notes, the link there, but whitneybateson.com/coach to sign up for the coaching call that is happening very soon. And I also will have a very special announcement at the end of that call. If you're on my email list, you will also hear about that announcement. So that will be happening later in the week as well. So it's a big week. Big week. I'm settling into Colombia. We're going to be having a coaching call. We're going to have some other exciting news. So it's all going to be good. I hope you've really been enjoying the past podcast episodes that I've been putting out about planning and action taking and all of that good stuff as we move into the new year. However, 2025 was for you, I know for many of us, it was not the year we were expecting probably, or maybe it was. And it's okay. Let's just move forward. Let's just talk about the things ahead. And what I want to talk about today is also a little bit of, okay, your website was a disaster. The first website that you worked on, maybe your current website right now, or maybe you embarked on a DIY project, or maybe you hired someone And it just like you have bad memories from it of the process. It wasn't good. It didn't go well. You are frustrated by it. And I want to just help you move on and talk through what probably happened, what probably made it not be successful, and also just normalize it because I have a lot of conversations with practitioners. I've actually just been talking with another practitioner who had someone do her website, and it's just become this like mess of plugins and pages that go nowhere. And it's just piled on, piled on. And it's, oh my gosh, I need to do something different. And so I'm going to talk through the mistakes that I see happen, or not even mistakes, but just the things that do go wrong, the things that happen in the process that to me are very clear what went wrong, but for you as a business owner and not a web designer are not necessarily going to be thinking about those things. So I want to give you a little bit behind the curtain, behind the scenes of someone who has been at this now for 8 years, seeing a lot of stuff and knowing what really you should be aware of and what are the hallmarks of a really successful website project so that you can be preparing for that. And just know that this is very common to have some not good things happen when it comes with website creation as an entrepreneur. When we start our business, there's so many different things that we don't know, and we're just trying our best and we're trying to figure it out. And we are just going with whoever we are aware of at the time, whether it's a free tutorial resource or it's some service provider that was recommended or that's local in your area. And it turns out maybe that wasn't the best solution for you, but you didn't know. You made the best choice that you had at the time with the information you had available. So let's just dive in, and there's no judgment here. These are just the things that probably happened for you and what you can be doing instead for the next time, and maybe why they happened, why they were such a problem. Reason number one that your website is or was a disaster and why the next time will be different. First, you tried building it with no template at all. You just started building it from the ground up, or you used the wrong template. So this is a little bit more for the DIYers out there. So there are providers and creators or coaches and things like that where they have a program and they're teaching you about something. And part of that program it requires you having a website. And so they have a solution just teaching you how to create a website and use some free tools and build it. And I have encountered a lot of people who have gone through those free tutorials and really just run into a lot of struggles with it because you're building from the ground up. Even if you think you're using like a template, like that, maybe there is some kind of free page layouts or some kinds of page layouts available, it really isn't. It's just like a nice design. It's like a stencil. It's nice, but it's not really actually a strategic website that's going to work for your business and your practice. And you're a service-based provider. Maybe you're also doing like consulting work or a group program. You need to be presenting certain pieces of information in certain ways. And there are a lot of the website templates that I've seen out there some of them are like more for photographers or architects, or they're very visually appealing, but they are not what you need as a service provider, especially in the health space where you need to be providing really concrete information and filling your customers with a lot of trust by what you're saying and how you're presenting information. And if it's all about the visuals and it's not about how do you actually talk and provide copy and words in a way that's easy to read and makes sense and follows like a structured flow, then it's going to be really hard for anyone to feel ready to move forward with you. And you're just going to be challenged trying to put that together for yourself because it's not going to make sense because it's not made for your business. And I've also seen Squarespace and Wix and all of those platforms. They obviously, you can create a website in a day. You can pick one of their layouts. You can pick one of their color palettes. And you can probably even have it write your copy at this point and say, boom, boom, boom. And then suddenly when you want to change a few things because it's not quite reflective of your services, or you put it out there and 6 months later, like nothing's happening, you're not getting any calls from it because it was just not tailored to your business and not actually speaking to it was it wasn't really reflecting you. It was just a template and you didn't know how to customize it to reflect you in a way that was like really meaningful customization. Yeah, you can put different colors and put your photos in there, but that's not really what I'm talking about. It's like that deeper representation of your personality and your values and your approach to your work and showing that your customers that you care. Like all of that stuff is stuff that you really need to figure out yourself or someone guide you through. Not it's not going to come from just like a plug and play template from Squarespace. So doing those kinds of things, using either building something completely from scratch or using these generic templates, it's going to be tough too, technically, if you are doing something like WordPress from scratch. Just the setup of WordPress is really challenging for a non-technical person. So there's also probably a chance that you just got stuck in a lot of technical overwhelm, and that may have impacted the finished result as well because you were so exhausted from all of the tech that you then gave up when it came to customizing it or writing your copy and really thinking through all of the pieces and making sure everything was as good as it could be. So the end result in all of this was you have a website that maybe isn't functioning very well, maybe you're embarrassed by it, took forever to do, you're just emotionally taxed and you're like, I never want to do this again. And you're pissed. I would be pissed. I'm like, I spent all this time, but the next option is to go and pay someone thousands of dollars to fix it for me. Like you just feel like a little stuck and frustrated. And then the worst part is that you've put it out online and you're not getting any traction. There's no people contacting you from it. Maybe you're not even feeling confident enough to really promote it a whole lot. So in talks, you're kind of like, oh, just go to my Instagram or something because your website is a mess. So none of that is good. The better thing to do is to work with templates or work with a designer who is actually going to give you a structured design and layout for your website that is already relevant to your business. Because there are web designers who are niched. So I am niched into dietitians, into the health service provider space, practitioner space. So I know the kinds of business models that you have. And so I can guide you very quickly on these are the pages that you need. These are the sections that you need on your homepage. These are the systems that you need to have behind the scenes. This is how you should be speaking to your customers. Like all of that I already know. I've done it like dozens of times with different practitioners, and it's easy for me. And so when you want this to be more effective and move more quickly, working with a template that's already set up for you or a provider who is really specific to your business and your niche and service area, that's just going to make things a heck of a lot easier and more effective at the end of the day. All right, so that's reason number one, just this amorphous starting point that was not dialed into you. And so it really never got dialed into you because it just was really tough to do. Reason number two that your website that you built yourself or the one that you hired someone to build didn't go very well is because you didn't have a clear plan starting out. So you weren't actually clear on what you were offering. You weren't necessarily clear on your sales process yet. You didn't have a lead magnet. You weren't thinking about list building. You maybe weren't sure if you were going to do a blog or not. There were a lot of things. Maybe you were still figuring out your customer a little bit. And maybe you thought you were clear, but I was just having this conversation in our current cohort of the Wellness Pro website system. And how many of our clients that are in that program say, I thought I was clear on my customer, but then this process made me realize that I was not clear yet. And now I'm much more clear. And getting clear on your customer means that when someone asks you, what are the things that are like really the biggest problems for your customers? What are the issues that they're really dealing with? What are the things that they are really wanting, like the problems that they want solved? What are those goals and dreams and desires? Like, what are those things that are keeping them up at night? What are the things that they've tried? If you can't actually explain those things yet, then it just means that you haven't done the work, the deep work to fully flesh out all of those thoughts and ideas. You will be able to figure it out. It may be challenging and you may think, oh, I don't know those answers yet. That's okay. You just need to spend some time thinking and sitting with it and working on it, and you can do that. And once you get that clarity, that's going to help you make sure that, okay, this service that I'm offering, is this the right service based on, okay, my customer is actually really strapped on time and they would value more asynchronous stuff, like maybe some videos and some lessons and some handouts, and maybe just being able to message me in between sessions or something like that. Okay, this service package, the way I'm going to position this is going to be positioned for that person who is really short on time and they don't have dire problems that they really need to be talking live with me on. They're more focused. Okay, they know what they need to do. They just need some accountability. They need a little bit more education, and they want to get it done, and they don't have a lot of time. So when you understand your customer, you can then also align your services to what's most important to them. And then on your website, you can talk about those things in a way that is going to match what they want. But if you're not thinking about your customer first, then, we all come up with our business and first we say, okay, how am I going to make money? What are my services? What am I going to do in my business? That's fine. But then we need to go back and think about our customer and do that linkage of how are those services actually meeting the needs of our customers? Because then when we want to talk about it, if we haven't done that work, we're just going to be almost lecturing people a little bit of, okay, this is my 3-month counseling package and we're going to work on X, Y, and Z. And yeah, you may be talking about, we're going to address your blood sugar and look at your labs and talk about the foods that are going to be ideal and meal planning and all of that. But you're not really speaking to what are the things that your customer, those maybe like other intangible things that are still really important to them. What are their values? What are they really dealing with right now so that you can speak about that? And then at the same time, so you have your services and you figured those out and how they're different and unique from one another. And then you need to think about how is someone going to come from being a stranger to actually becoming a client. For most people, it's a discovery call. You're going to offer a discovery call and then they're going to get on that call with you and you're going to have a great conversation and they're going to be ready to sign up. So you need to have that process thought through and what software you're going to use for it, because that needs to go into your website. And so if you go into a website project or work with a designer and you haven't thought through your services and what they are and feeling really confident about them and feeling confident about how to describe them, because that is a challenge that I've found a lot over the years, is it's one thing to know what you're offering. It's another thing to sit down and write about what you're offering and feel really confident about it. So if you haven't done that, it can be a surprising challenge. And again, it's totally overcomable. That's something that we work on quite a bit inside of our program. And I'll talk about, actually, spoiler alert, reason number 3 is even more about copy. But you need to have that plan of your services and how you're going to talk about it and your sales process. Because if you don't, going into creating your website is almost like, I love cooking. So it's almost like going to the kitchen to make dinner and just immediately chopping up garlic and putting it into the frying pan and then being like, okay, what ingredient do I need next? The garlic is burning in the pan while you are trying to figure out, am I chopping carrots? Or am I chopping eggplant? Or am I adding beef to the pan? I don't know. The clock is ticking. You're feeling pressured. You've got other stuff going on and you're just building the meal as you go. And that just ends up feeling very stressful, feeling very discombobulated. And maybe at the same time, you're searching online for what recipe do I need to be making? I've got garlic. And it can feel like a lot. So having a plan, having someone guiding you through what you need to be doing, that's one of the things that I really love about my program is I give you the whole playbook right up front. This is what we're going to work on week by week. This is what you're going to be doing on week 1 and week 2 and week 3. And it's an order that builds on itself. So that way you never have to be feeling like, what am I working on next? And do I need to be thinking about this? I tell you what you need to be thinking about at the right time so that it's all there up front. Because what can also happen if you approach your website in that unplanned way, it can start becoming this mess of added on things as time goes on. Especially too, if you did hire someone to build your website and you were like, I just need to get this done. Maybe you didn't have all of your services figured out yet, but you were like, let's just do it. And then 6 months down the line, you're like, I want to add another service, or I want to add a group program, or I want to add a lead magnet. And you don't know how because you hired someone to design your site and, they made a beautiful site, but you don't know how to edit it. Let's say maybe you just try anyway and you start adding stuff and you find new plugins online and you design this different thing and everything starts looking, if you've ever played with Play-Doh and you start putting all the colors onto the ball of Play-Doh and it's like you got yellow and red and blue and it just becomes this like blob that doesn't look good and you've just kept piling stuff on and eventually you have this website that has dead links, it has broken functionality, it's slow, there's too many pages, it's confusing to visitors, it's confusing to you. Starting with a good solid plan in the beginning, and then I think if you can, knowing how to edit your site in the future and knowing what website strategy looks like, that's another thing that I teach in our program. Like I show you how to map out what your pages are going to be on your site. So if in the future you decide you want to change up your services or you want to add a resources page or a media page or something, you can understand how that could work in the ecosystem of your website so that it feels cohesive. It always feels cohesive rather than feeling like you're just throwing a new thing on the pile and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger without it going back into always like a strategy and a clear path and a clear structure. So what I would recommend is having a plan, having someone guide you through what are the things you do need to have figured out, making sure that you do know what your services are, you know how they're different from one another, and have those sales processes and systems thought through too, so that that can be part of your website as you're building it. It's going to make it a lot more effective in the long run. And then reason number 3, I alluded to this, and you hear me talk about copywriting quite a bit, but the problem of why your website has not been effective. So we've talked about the layout and the design and the tech and all of the challenges there. But what if your website like truly is just not getting you any business at all? It is just sitting there on the web and you do share the link. You do put it in all of your Instagram posts and stories and it's in your bio. And when you give a talk, you share the link and you're going to doctors' offices for referrals and sharing the link. You are promoting your business. You are doing things and still your website it's getting traffic, but it's not getting you any business. It's not converting. People are not coming to your site and then saying, okay, this sounds good, and booking a call or booking a service with you. So the reason that is probably happening is because your copy is just not where it needs to be. So many website designers and website projects just focus on the design. And that's fine. A really advanced website project brings in a copywriter and talks about the copy with the design. But most of these designers, they focus on the design. They don't talk about the copy. And that's fine for them, but they're expecting you to bring the copy, and it's on you to bring really great copy in order for that website to actually be effective. The design is maybe like 10%. 90% of the effectiveness of a website is the words and how you're connecting with your customer by the words that you're using and how you are really portraying your own personality and showing that you really understand people by the words that you're using and and how you're communicating and really starting a conversation with your customer. It's this virtual version of you out online for people to interact with before they get on a call with you. If they are liking what you're saying and feeling like you are the person for them, then they are going to want to set up a call. But if they're coming to your website and the copy is feeling very stiff, feeling impersonal, it's not showing your personality, it's not speaking to any of the challenges that they are facing, then they are never going to get past that just initial reading of it. They're not going to feel that connection. And it's not going to compel them to want to move forward and book a call. And so the copy is just so critical for your site. And so many web designers are not working with their clients on their copy because they're not copywriters, and that's fine. I have created a system in the Wellness Pro website system where we already built the website designs, so I don't need to be spending my time working on design for you. I'm spending my time in our program teaching you about the strategy for your site, how to be organizing your services and your pages, and how to be writing your copy. To me, that is what I want you to be focusing on. That is what I want you to be getting out of the program, in addition to building out the other things that are going to make your site successful. We work on your lead magnet. We work on your blogs and your SEO and how are you going to promote your site after it's launched and all of that. But I want your website to be connecting with your customers and be this amazing representation of you. And when that happens, because we've already given you a great designed site that looks like you and has your branding and all of that, but then we're putting copy that you wrote that's in your voice, but that is also sounding like a professional copywriter wrote it. That's when the magic happens, and that's when a website can finally be successful and really effective. So if you are just putting out generic content, which honestly, we're not copywriters. Most business owners are not copywriters, but especially if you're coming from a science background, a science education, you are definitely not going to be thinking about how to write copy in an empathetic, personal, familiar kind of way. We've always just learned to write in a more academic, clinical sense. And we may try to make it sound personal, but it's damn hard. That's okay. But it is something that you can learn, and there's a process to it. I would recommend that if you are going to embark on your first website, or you are going to embark on redoing your website, that you really make sure you have a solution for your copywriting, and that you're not going to just try and write it by yourself, that you're going to get some guidance and assistance to ensure that you're really bringing that empathy through and that connection through in your copy, and you're saying the right things in the right places at the right length. There's a strategy and method for all of it. All right. So those are the 3 reasons probably why your current website is a mess, or when you embarked on a project the last time, it went really awfully and you have some frustration about it and bad feelings, or your current website is not working for you exactly as it should. Those are the big reasons that you worked with either a designer or a template that was not customized to your business and your niche. You went into the project without a plan, and now it's just become this amorphous mess. And C, I think, or 3, you did not focus on your copy and you didn't get support around writing copy that was actually going to connect with your customers, which is actually the most important part of your website and whether it's going to get you business or just sit there. So you don't have to struggle through these things alone. I do have my program, the Wellness Pro website system, to help you through all of that. And if you want to get started on your website and work with me on it, then I would love to invite you to join me in the program. Hint, hint, our special announcement will be related to joining the program later this week. But in the meantime, if you want to make sure that you definitely don't miss the news, go to whitneybateson.com/waitlist or wellnessprowebsite.com, and you can join the waitlist for the program. And that way you're going to get on my email list, and then you will be notified as soon as we have our special announcement going live. And it's a really It's a really good one. And then, of course, I would love to have you come to my coaching call this week as well. So it's happening on Wednesday, December 10th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time on Zoom. You can register for free. You'll get the recording afterwards. Submit your question, any question you have about websites or about planning for next year or things that you're thinking about doing in your business to maybe move further away from one-to-one, get some free time back, get some time freedom, whatever it is you want to be doing, or you want to be building your email list and you want to get some of my advice or feedback about that. Anything, the floor is yours. I would love to have you there. Go to whitneybateson.com/coach to sign up for that and register for that training or for that coaching call. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Please give us a review. If you feel so inclined, share it with a colleague. And I hope to see you on the coaching call soon. Thanks.